Get those muddy boots off my clean floor, Ella, or I'll have you scrubbing it with your toothbrush. Maud's voice sliced through the cozy kitchen like a butcher's cleaver, sharp and cold. Her thin lips twisted into a sneer as she loomed in the doorway, arms crossed over her bony chest, her graying hair pulled tight into a bun that looked like it could crack walnuts. The scent of burnt toast hung in the air, a bitter little cloud that matched her mood. Ella, hunched over by the stove, flinched but didn't turn around quick enough. I, I was just bringing the firewood, Maude. It's pouring out there. Didn't mean to track in the mess. Her voice wobbled, soft as a kitten's purr, but there was a spark in it too, a tiny ember that hadn't quite gone out. She kicked off her boots, leaving them in a soggy heap by the door, and wiped her hands on her patched apron. Her chestnut curls clung to her forehead, damp and wild, framing a face too gentle for the storm brewing inside her. Maude snorted, a sound like a rusty gate swinging shut. Excuses? Always excuses with you. What's next? The cow ate your chores? I didn't marry your fool of a father to raise a slattern who can't keep a house proper. Now move. Those potatoes won't peel themselves, and I've got guests coming tonight. Important ones. None of your whining's gonna ruin my plans. Ella's hands stilled over the pot, her knuckles whitening around the knife. Guests? You didn't say anything about guests. Who's coming? And why's it always me doing everything? I'm not your maid, Maude. Oh, aren't you precious? Maude barked a laugh, stepping closer, her shadow stretching across the floor like a vulture's wing. Not my maid, she says. You're whatever I say you are, girl. Your father's gone. God rest his bumbling soul. And this house is mine now. Mine. So you'll peel, you'll scrub, you'll smile while my sister Hortense and her fancy husband roll in tonight, or I'll lock you in the cellar with the spiders you're so scared of. How's that sound? Ella's breath hitched, her eyes darting to the cellar door in the corner. Dark, chipped, a silent threat she'd faced too many times. Spiders. Maude knew how they made her skin crawl, how she'd scream herself hoarse when one skittered too close. You wouldn't dare, she whispered, but it came out more like a plea. Try me. Maude snapped, her voice a whip crack. She turned on her heel, skirts swishing like a snake's tail, and stormed toward the parlor. And we're something decent for once. None of those rags you cling to like they're your mother's ghost. The door slammed. Ella stood there, the knife trembling in her grip, steam rising from the pot like whispers of a fight she hadn't yet won. She wasn't just a girl anymore. Not at 22, not after years of Maude's venom. Her father's death 2 winters back had left her tethered to this woman, this house, this life, but something was shifting. She could feel it, sharp as the blade in her hand. By evening. The kitchen glowed with the flicker of oil lamps, the table groaning under a spread of roast chicken, buttered rolls, and a cherry pie Ella had wrestled into existence despite Maude's hovering. The guests arrived in a flurry of coats and chatter. Hortense, plump and powdered, her voice a shrill flute, and her husband Gerald, a walrus of a man with a mustache that twitched like it had a mind of its own. Well, Maude, you've outdone yourself. Hortense trilled, plucking a roll from the basket. This girl of yours, Ellen, is it? She's a wonder in the kitchen. You trained her up nice. It's Ella, Ella muttered, setting down a pitcher of cider, her cheeks burning. And I didn't do it for her. Maude's eyes narrowed, a storm cloud rolling in. What was that, girl? Speak up. Don't mumble like some street urchin. I said. Ella raised her voice, chin lifting. I didn't do it for you. I did it 'cause I wanted to, 'cause I'm good at it. Not 'cause you order me around like some puppet. The words tumbled out, hot and reckless, and the room went still. Hortense's roll froze halfway to her mouth. Gerald's mustache gave a startled twitch. Maude's face turned the color of sour milk. You ungrateful little. After all I've done, keeping a roof over your head, you think you're too good for me now? Too good for this family. Family, Ella shot back, her voice rising like a tide. You're no family to me. You swooped in a minute Papa was cold, took his chair, his house, his everything. You treat me like dirt under your shoe. Well, I'm done. Done scraping and bowing to you. Hortense gasped, clutching her pearls. Maude, what's this? You said she was a sweet thing. not some wildcat. She's a liar is what she is. Maude hissed, slamming her hand on the table. The cider pitcher wobbled. Thinks she's above her station. I'll show her. No, you won't. Ella cut in, stepping forward, her apron streaked with flour like battle scars. You don't own me, Maude. Papa left this house to us. To me, too. I found a will last week, tucked in his old Bible. You thought I wouldn't look, didn't you? Thought I'd just willed away under your thumb forever. The air crackled. Maude's mouth opened, then shut, her eyes darting like a cornered fox. A will? You're bluffing. You've got nothing. Oh, I've got it. Ella said, her voice steady now, a river finding its course. And I'm taking to Mr. Harrow, the lawyer, tomorrow. You can have your guests, your schemes. Keep him. I'm leaving, Maude. This house is half mine, and I'll fight for it, or I'll walk away and build something better. Either way, I'm free of you. Gerald cleared his throat, rumbling like distant thunder. Well, now this is unexpected. Maude, you never mention a will. What's all this about? Maude sputtered, her bun quivering. She's lying. She's mad. I'll have her locked up. No, you won't, Hortense said sharply, standing up, her chair scraping the floor. I've heard enough. Gerald, we're leaving. I won't sit here while you bully this poor girl. She's got spirit, more than you ever will, Maude. Come along. The door banged shut behind them, leaving Maude gaping, her empire crumbling like stale bread. Ella stood tall, the knife still in her hand, not a weapon but a tool. A promise. She wasn't the girl who trembled by the stove that morning. She was something new, something fierce. Get out of my kitchen, she said quietly, and Maude, pale, shriveled, a shadow of her former venom, did. Ella, fetch me that quilt from the attic. My bones ache in this damp. Maude's voice grated through the small parlor, where she sat hunched in a rocking chair, wrapped in a shawl that smelled of mothballs. Her sharp eyes followed 19-year-old Ella as she hesitated by the fireplace, poking at the logs with a stick. Ella sighed, tossing the stick into the flames. Why is it always me running up there, Maude? The attic's freezing, and those stairs creak like they're going to snap. Can't you ask Papa instead? He's out back anyhow. Maude's lips pursed, tight as a drawstring purse. Your papa's useless, girl. Always has been. Chopping wood like some dreamy fool, thinking he's still the dashing farmer who swept your mother off her feet. Huh. She'd turn in her grave, seeing him now, soft as pudding and twice as dim. No, it's you I need. Move. Ella's shoulders stiffened, but she didn't budge. Papa's not useless. He built this house, every beam, every nail. He told me how he carved our names in the rafters when I was born. Said it was for Mama, so she'd always have a home, even after the fever took her. You wouldn't know that, though. You weren't here. Maude's rocker creaked as she leaned forward, her voice dropping to a hiss. Don't you sass me about what I know. I wasn't here because I had my own life, running a dress shop in town, stitching my fingers raw to keep a roof over my head after my no-good husband drank himself dead. I didn't need your papa's charity then, and I don't need your lip now. When he came crawling to me after your mama died, all widower tears and promises, I thought, Maude, here's your chance, security, a family. What a joke that turned out to be. Ella's eyes flashed, the firelight dancing in them. A chance? You mean a chance to boss us around? Papa married you cause he was lonely, not cause he wanted a warden. He dreams of fixing up the barn, maybe raising horses again like he did with Mama. What do you dream of, Maude? Sitting here, barking orders till we're all as miserable as you. Maude barked a laugh, bitter as winter wind. Dreams? I gave up dreams when I took over this crumbling heap. I want to respect status. A house folks envied. Not some muddy farm with a sniveling girl and a man who smells like hay. I'll make something of this place yet. Mark my words. You'll thank me when you're not starving in a dish. Thank you. Ella snapped, stepping closer, her voice trembling but fierce. I don't want your kind of help. I want to bake, pies, bread, anything, and sell them in town. Mama taught me her recipes before she went, said I had her knack. I could build a life, Maude, a real one, not just this. She waved a hand at the peeling walls, the heavy air between them. Maude's eyes narrowed, glinting like shards of ice. A baker, huh? You'll ruin us with your flowery nonsense. No, you'll stay right here. Keep this house running till I say otherwise. Your papa is too weak to stop me, and you're too young to know better. Now get that quilt." Ella glared, then turned on her heel, muttering, "One day, I'll walk out that door and never look back." The stairs groaned under her steps, echoing her defiance. Maude rocked harder, smirking to herself. "We'll see about that, girl. We'll see." Ella stood in the kitchen, the knife still in her hand, her chest heaving as Maude's footsteps faded down the hall. The silence buzzed, thick as the steam still curling from the pot. She'd done it, finally spoken the truth, loud and clear, but now what? The will was real, tucked safe in her apron pocket, but Mr. Harrow's office was miles away, and the rain hadn't let up. She was wiping flour off her hands when a sharp rap rattled the back door. "Who's there?" she called, voice cracking. No answer, just another knock, louder, insistent. She grabbed a rolling pin, better safe than sorry, and cracked the door open. A soaked figure stumbled in, shaking water off a tattered coat. It was Toby, the blacksmith's apprentice from town, his freckled face pale, his red hair plastered to his skull. "Ella, thank God you're here," he panted, dripping all over her clean floor. I didn't know where else to go. It's bad, real bad. Toby, what are you doing out in this mess?" She lowered the rolling pin, frowning. "You look half drowned. What's happened?" He gulped air, eyes wild. "It's your barn. Lightning hit it not an hour ago. Saw it from the forge. Flames everywhere. I ran to tell you, but Ella, there's more. Someone was in there. Heard him yelling. Couldn't get close enough to see who, but the fire's spreading fast. Ella stomach lursha." "The barn?" "Papa's barn." She bolted to the window, yanking back the curtain. Sure enough, an orange glow flickered beyond the trees, smoke twisting into the stormy sky. No, that's all I've got left of him. Who'd be out there in this weather?" "Dunno," Toby said, grabbing her arm. "But we gotta move now. If it hits the house, you're done for." Before she could answer, Maude stormed back in, her face a thundercloud. "What's this racket? Who's this muddy lout tracking filth in my kitchen?" She froze, spotting the glow outside. "What in blazes? Fire, Maude." Ella snapped, already tugging on her boots. "The barn's burning, and someone's trapped. Toby saw it. We're going." Maude's jaw dropped, then snapped shut. "The barn? That rickety old thing? Good riddance. Let it burn. Saves me the trouble of tearing it down for something useful. And you're not going anywhere, girl. Not after that stunt you pulled." Ella whirled on her, eyes blazing. "You let someone die out there? Just to spite me?" "I'm going, Maude. Try and stop me." She shoved past, Toby scrambling after her, but Maude grabbed a broom and blocked the door, her bony frame trembling with fury. "You'll ruin everything." Maude shrieked. "I've got plans, big plans. That land's worth more than you know, and I won't have you playing hero and mucking it up. Stay put, or you'll what?" Ella shot back, voice rising over the wind howling outside. "Lock me up? Beat me? You're not my jailer anymore. Move, Maude. Someone's screaming out there, and I won't stand here arguing while they burn." Toby piped up, voice shaky but firm. "She's right, ma'am. I heard it. Sounded like a man. Could be hurt bad. You want that on your conscience." Maude's grip tightened on the broom, her eyes darting between them. Then, with a snarl, she stepped aside. "Fine, go play savior. See if I care. But don't come crying when it all falls apart." She slammed the broom against the wall, splinters flying. Ella didn't wait. She ran, Toby at her heels, the rain pelting them like 1,000 tiny fists. The barn loomed ahead, half swallowed by flames, the heat slapping her face as she skidded to a stop. "Hello? Anyone there?" she yelled. Coughing as smoke clawed her throat, a groan answered, faint but real, from the far side. She darted around, dodging sparks, and there, crumpled by the water trough, was a man, his coat singed, his leg twisted at a sick angle. "Help me," he rasped, and Ella's heart stopped. She knew that voice. "Mr. Harrow," she gasped, dropping to her knees beside him. The lawyer, gray-haired, spectacled, the man she planned to see tomorrow, lay clutching a satchel, his face streaked with soot. "What are you doing here?" "Was coming to you," he wheezed. wincing as Toby helped prop him up. Heard rumors. Maude's selling the land to developers. Found proof in town records. Your father's will, it's ironclad. She can't touch it, but she's desperate. Thought I'd warn you. Got caught in the storm. Ella's mind raced, the fire roaring behind her like Maude's lies catching up. Selling it? She never said. Wait, did she know you were coming? She glanced back at the house, a shadow moving in the window. Maude, dunno, Toby muttered, hauling Mr. Harrow's arm over his shoulder. But we gotta get him out. Barn's collapsing. They dragged him clear just as the roof caved in with a thunderous crash, sparks exploding like fireworks. Ella's hands shook, the wool crinkling in her pocket. Maude wasn't just controlling. She was scheming, ready to sell Ella's legacy out from under her. And now the barn, her father's dream, was ash, but Mr. Harrow's words lit a new fire in her gut. Back at the house, Maude waited, arms crossed, her smirk faltering when she saw Mr. Harrow. What's he doing here? She barked, voice shrill. You're trespassing, old man. Save it, Maude, Ella said, stepping forward, rain dripping from her hair like tears she wouldn't shed. He knows about the will, the land, your little deal. You thought you'd bury it, didn't you? Burn it down, maybe? Well, guess what? I've got proof, and he's got more. You're done. Maude's face twisted, a cornered animal baring its teeth. You think you've won? This isn't over, girl. I'll fight you tooth and nail. Bring it on, Ella said, her voice steady as steel. I've got a lawyer, a witness, and a backbone you'll never break. Mr. Harrow coughed, clutching his satchel. She's right, Maude. Court'll see it my way. Your way's finished. The rain pounded down, washing away the smoke, the lies, the old Ella. Maude's plans were unraveling, and Ella's? They were just beginning. The rain hammered the earth like a judge's gavel, relentless, as Ella faced Maude in the parlor. Mr. Harrow slumped in a chair by the fire, his leg propped on a stool, his satchel spilling papers like secrets too long buried. Toby hovered near the door, wringing his cap, a silent witness to the storm inside. The air crackled, smoke and wet wool mingling with the sour tang of Maude's fear. You think you've got me cornered, don't you? Maude spat, her voice a jagged blade, slicing through the dim light. She stood by the mantel, clutching a candlestick like it could fend off the truth. Her bun had loosened, strands falling like the unraveling threads of her reign. A few soggy papers and a crippled lawyer. I'll burn that will to cinders before you blink, girl. Ella's fists clenched, the will in her pocket a lifeline she wouldn't let slip. Go ahead, try it, she fired back, her voice rising like a river bursting its banks. Burn it, tear it, scream till your lungs give out. It won't change a thing. Mr. Harrow's got copies, witnesses, proof you can't touch. You're not just a liar, Maude. You're a thief, stealing what Papa built, what Mama loved, and I'm done letting you. Maude's eyes blazed, twin coals in a face carved from spite. Stealing? I earned this. Years of scraping by, stitching till my hands bled, while your precious Papa played Farmer King. I deserve this house, this land. You're a child, a sniveling brat clinging to ghosts. You think you can take it from me? Me? Earned it. Ella laughed, sharp and bitter, the sound bouncing off the walls like a bell tolling doom. You didn't plant a single seed, didn't mend a single fence. Papa's sweat stained these floors, his dreams held up these walls. You swooped in like a vulture, picking at his bones, and now you're selling it to strangers? For what fancy dresses? A title in town? You're pathetic. Maude lunged, the candlestick swinging wild, but Ella dodged, quick as a deer, her boots skidding on the rug. Wax splattered the floor, hot, white tears of a fight gone feral. Pathetic? Maude roared, her voice cracking like the barn's charred beams. I'll show you pathetic. I'll drag you to court. Ruin you. They'll laugh you out of town. Ella, mark my words. Enough. Mr. Harrow's voice boomed, a thunderclap from the corner. He hauled himself up, wincing, his cane thumping the floor like a heartbeat. Maude, sit down before you make a bigger fool of yourself. I've got the deed, the will, letters from your own solicitor, dated last week. plotting to sell this land behind Ella's back. You're caught, woman. Done. Maude froze, the candlestick trembling in her grip, her chest heaving like a bellows about to burst. You traitor, she hissed, whirling on him. I paid you, fed you, trusted you. Trusted me to lie? Harrow shot back, his glasses glinting like steel. I serve the law, not your greed. Ella's got rights. Half this estate, legal and binding. You've got nothing but schemes and ashes now. The room spun, a carousel of rage and revelation. Ella stepped closer, her shadow stretching tall, a giant born from a girl's quiet fury. You hear that, Maude? Nothing. All your barking, your threats, it's dust. I'm taking what's mine, half the land, half the house, and I'll build something good. A bakery, a home, something you'll never touch. You can stay or slink off, but you'll never own me again. Maude's face crumpled, a mask of rage melting into something raw. Fear, maybe, or the ghost of defeat. You can't, she stammered, the candlestick clattering to the floor. I won't let you. I'll fight, claw my way back. No, you won't. Ella shouted, her voice a tidal wave crashing over Maude's crumbling shore. You're finished. Look at you, shaking, alone, clutching at shadows. I'm not afraid anymore. Not of you, not of spiders, not of anything. This is my victory, mine. Her words rang, a bell pealing triumph, and the fire snapped in the hearth, punctuating her claim. Toby edged forward, eyes wide. Ella, she's breaking. What now? Maude sank to her knees, a marionette with cut strings, her hands clawing the rug. You'll regret this, she whispered, but it was hollow, a wind rattling through empty branches. You'll see, you'll all see. Ella stood over her, breathing hard, the storm outside, softening to a murmur. No, Maude, you'll see. I'm free, and you're the one who's lost everything. The room held its breath, the flames dancing, casting Ella's silhouette against the wall. Tall, fierce, unshakable. Maude's empire lay in ruins at her feet, and for the first time, Ella felt the weight lift and the future open wide. Ella towered over Maude, the firelight painting her in bold strokes of gold and shadow, a warrior fresh from battle. Maude knelt on the rug, a fallen queen clutching at tatters, her breath ragged, her eyes darting like trapped moths. The air hummed with the weight of what had just shattered, and what was about to mend. You're leaving, Maude, Ella said, her voice steady as a hammer striking anvil, ringing with finality. Pack your things, tonight. I'm done with your poison. This house is mine now, half by law, half by right, and I won't share it with you another day. Maude's head snapped up, her voice a cracked whisper. Leaving? You can't throw me out. I've got nowhere to go. You think I'll just crawl off like some whipped dog? Oh, you'll go. Ella shot back, stepping closer, her boots thumping the floor like drumbeats of resolve. You've got your sister Hortense. Let her deal with your snarling. Or slink back to that dress shop you brag about. I don't care. Just be gone by dawn, or I'll have Toby fetch the sheriff to haul you out. Toby nodded, twisting his cap with a grin. I'd do it too. She ain't bluffing, ma'am. Se rifos me a favor anillo. Maude's hands shook, clawing at the rug, but her fight fizzled like a damp wick. You little wretch. After all, she stopped, choking on her own venom, then lurched to her feet, swaying. Fine. Fine, I'll go. But you'll choke on this victory. Ella, mark me. It'll rot in your mouth. Ella crossed her arms, unshaken, her voice softening but firm. No, Maude. It'll taste like cherry pie, sweet and mine. Now get moving. I got a life to start. Mr. Harrow cleared his throat, tapping his cane like a gavel. It's settled, then. I'll file the papers tomorrow. Ella's claim stand, Maude. Half the estate's hers, and the sale you schemed? Dead in the water. I've got the records locked tight. Try anything funny, and you'll face more than a sheriff. Understood? Maude glared, a dying ember flaring one last time, then turned, her skirts dragging like a funeral train. Understood, she muttered, the words sour as bile. She shuffled toward the stairs, her shadow shrinking with every step, a specter fading into nothing. Ella watched her go, then sank into a chair, the wool crinkling in her pocket like a victory hymn. It's over, she breathed, half to herself, half to the room. Really over. Toby plopped down beside her, grinning wide. You did it, Ella. Stood up to her like a lion. I swear, I've never seen anything like it. What's next? That bakery you talked about. Yeah, she said, a smile breaking through, bright as dawn after a storm. A bakery, right here in Papa's house. Pies in the oven, bread on the table, a place that's warm alive. You'll help me, won't you? Haul flour, fix the shutters. Count me in. Toby laughed, clapping her shoulder. Reckon I'll get free biscuits out of it, too. Mr. Harrow chuckled, gathering his papers. You've got a future, girl, one your father be proud of. I'll see the legal mess through. Maude won't wriggle back. Rest easy now. Ella nodded, her eyes tracing the room. Papa's chair, Mama's old curtains, the hearth that had witnessed it all. I will, she said, voice soft but sure. For the first time, I really will. By morning, Maude was gone, her trunk rattling away in a borrowed cart under a gray drizzle. Ella stood at the door, flour dusting her apron, the scent of rising dough wafting from the kitchen. The house sighed, free at last, and she stepped inside to build, to bake, to live. So, Toby, you reckon folks will believe all this? Ella asked, kneading dough in her kitchen, the morning sun spilling gold across the counter. Maude's shadow was long gone, chased out 2 days ago, and the house felt lighter, like it had shed a heavy cloak. Toby leaned against the doorframe, munching a warm biscuit. Believe it? They'll talk about it for years. Ella, the girl who took down the wicked stepmother, started with you snapping back at Maude. You don't own me. Right here over burnt toast and muddy boots. Then that fire, barn gone, Mr. Harrow half-cooked but spilling her secrets. Selling the land behind your back? Low even for her. Ella laughed, sharp and free. Oh, she tried clawing back, swung that candlestick like a mad woman. But I had the will, Papa's truth in my pocket, and Harrow's papers. You're done, Maude, I said, and she broke, crumpled right there on the rug. Couldn't fight the law, or me, not anymore. Best part, Toby grinned, crumbs flying. You sent her packing, out by dawn, and she went, tail between her legs. Now you've got half this place, legal and square, and that oven's already humming. What's it all mean, Ella? She paused, hands dusted with flour, eyes bright. It means I took back what's mine, family, home, dreams. Maude thought she could crush me, but I grew thorns. It's not just about winning. It's about building something good out of the ashes. Toby nodded, swallowing the last bite. A bakery and a story. Evil stepmother's gone, and you're still standing. Ella smiled, sliding a tray into the oven. Standing? Nah, I'm rising, Toby. Just like this bread.